Brilliant inventors killed by their own creations. Stanley Steamer Automobile. In 1896, twin brothers Francis and Freeland invented the Stanley Steamer Automobile. The car broke the fastest mile in 1906 with 28.2 seconds, which means the car was speeding at 127 miles per hour. The brothers made a pretty penny off the invention when they sold their company in 1918. Later that year, Francis crashed into a woodpile and overturned the car while making a sharp turn to avoid an obstacle. The accident killed him. The printing press. William Bullock invented the printing press in 1863, which was an upgrade and an improvement to Gutenberg's. The invention was considered to be the first modern printing press. However, like many victims of the Industrial Revolution, William got his leg caught in one of the gears of the printing press and got his leg and foot crushed. The injury was soon infected with gangrene, and while in the midst of surgery to amputate his leg, William died. Radiation. Marie Curie won 2 Nobel Prizes in chemistry and physics for her work in discovering polonium and radium, along with coming up with breakthrough methods in radioactivity and science. Her work would eventually lead to what we know now as the X-ray. Because she was exposed to so much radiation, Marie eventually developed leukemia and died in 1934. Propeller train. Valerian Abakovsky was an engineer who lived in the Soviet Union and often contributed his inventions to the government. He invented a rail car powered by propeller to help get across a large country in less time. However, in 1921, the car derailed during a test run, and Abakovsky was injured and killed in the accident. Titanic. Thomas Andrews was a shipbuilder and designed the ship that would go down on her maiden voyage. Andrews begged the White Star Line to put in 46 lifeboats per the design of the ship. But the company only added 20. As the ship was going down in 1912, Andrews was getting life jackets for passengers and helping people get into boats. He was last seen in the ship's smoking room and gazing on the painting Approach to the New World. His body was never recovered, and he never made it onto any of the lifeboats. Barrel betrayal. Karl Suchek became a household name in 1984 after he went down Niagara Falls in a barrel that he invented himself. Suchek figured out a way to design a barrel that would cushion falls and ensure a higher rate of survival. In 1985, Suchek wanted to attempt the barrel off the Houston Astrodome with another barrel he invented in front of a crowd of 35,000. There was a water tank at the bottom to help soften the fall. However, Suchek's barrel clipped the tank and he crushed his chest and abdomen, plus fracturing his skull. Needless to say, he did not survive. Flying Ford Pinto. Hal Blake and Henry Smolinski invented a way for cars to fly short distances of several hundred miles by attaching detachable wings to the top of a Ford Pinto. The idea was that drivers could attach the wings at local airports and then detach upon the arrival of their destination. Unfortunately, in 1973, while the two inventors were testing their invention, the wings detached mid-flight and crashed, killing them both. There was no attempt to reinvent or test any of the other models. Words take flight. Abu Nasir Ismail ibn Hamad al-Jahari lived during the 10th and 11th centuries and is best known for being the author of the Arab dictionary. So, al-Jahari was no fool. The theologian and lexicographer wanted to move on to more physical inventions and wanted to test flight. He died after he jumped off the roof of the Nisabur Mosque after trying to fly with 2 homemade wooden wings. The Glider King. Before the Wright brothers invented the airplane, they were inspired by a German man named Otto Lilienthal, who was considered to be the Glider King. He invented 18 types of gliders, which included 15 monoplanes and 2 biplanes. Before Otto was successful, flight was just a dream. In 1896, while testing one of his gliders, he lost control and crashed into a nosedive and fractured his spine. While dying in the hospital, Otto's last words were, "Sacrifices must be made." Rocket Man. Max Valier was an Austrian rocketry pioneer who wanted to move the science forward using cars, and eventually segue into blasting off into space. In 1928, he was inventing rocket cars that could go 145 miles per hour. Valier even invented a rocket-powered sled and hit 250 miles per hour. But this wasn't enough for Valier. He wanted to experiment with liquid propellants to see if space travel would soon be possible. While testing this idea, a rocket exploded and Valier died in 1930.